So, an important property that we use when solving is the distributive property. And here it is, just sort of as a formula, no numbers. Basically, if I have a expression inside the parentheses, and it does not have to be as short as this, it could be a lot of things added and subtracted and multiplied and divided. But when I have that all inside parentheses and on the outside, something is being multiplied by this quantity, that means I really have to multiply that something by everything on the inside. So that's how this becomes A times B plus A times C. And if I had on the inside negative, I'm subtracting C. That is just going to follow along with me here, right? I did A times B and A times C, and I don't lose that subtraction. And here I have my A times C. All right, so here are some examples. I have on the outside -3, and inside my parentheses, I have x minus 2. So I'm going to multiply -3 with everything inside those parentheses. -3 times x is just -3x. -3 times -2. Don't forget that a negative times a negative, this is going to turn into a positive, +6. Now, some people prefer to look at this as x minus, and that's a 2, right? So then they would go -3 times x, -3 times 2 is -6, and they just bring down the minus. Now that is okay as long as you don't forget it, because then subtracting -6 turns into +6. We're right back where we started. The only reason I don't usually recommend this is sometimes people will just forget to bring this negative down. And so it will end up with a wrong answer. I just attach them together. I'm like, if that's a -2, I'm subtracting 2. That is the same as a -2. Here we have x minus 2 on the inside, and all we have on the outside is minus. Subtract. And that might look a little bit confusing. What we really have there is an invisible little 1. Because really, anything multiplied by 1 isn't going to change it, right? So we could put a 1 in front of anything we wanted. But if we have a negative on the outside, that's like we're multiplying a -1 times everything. So -1 times x is -x, or -1x, whichever way you would like that. And -1 times -2 becomes +2. Now, the other way you can think about this is we have x minus 2, and we're doing the negative, the inverse of these things. So we had a positive x, it changes to a negative x. We had subtract 2, it changes to add 2. If that makes sense to you, go for it. Whichever way feels better for your brain. Now, of course, I'm jumping up to a much harder one, but we're going to combine now the distributive property with combining like terms. So first, let's distribute, because we have to, remembering that these are multiplication, we can't start adding things or subtracting things before we have done the multiplication. So let's do the multiplying in our PEMDAS. -3 times x is a -3x. -3 times -2 becomes +6. Over here, 2 times 4 becomes 8. 2 times -x becomes -2x. I'm just bringing 7x down. Nothing really happened to him, but he's still here. So we've applied the distributive property, and now we can use combine like terms to simplify this. I have 7x minus 3x is 4x, and a minus 2 more x, and I'll have 2x left. And then I have +6 and +8, which together is going to be +14. And we're done.